The Kansas City Chiefs play the Houston Texans in the AFC Divisional round this Saturday, and I brought on my guy from Roundtable Sports, my guy Ruben from 713 Houston Sports. We are going to get his perspective on this upcoming game between the Chiefs and the Texans. You guys have heard me talk enough. So, Ruben, my first question for you is how confident are you going into this game? You know, the Texans are the 4 seed, the Chiefs are the 1 seed, coming off of a bye week. How are you feeling going into this big time matchup on Saturday?
Look, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 or 8. I understand who is in front of me, and I'm not gonna be mad like I was last week that no one's giving me a chance. This is the Kansas City Chiefs, back-to-back Super Bowl champions. They earned that respect. However, I'm not just gonna walk in and just lie down and let you guys go to your 7th straight AFC championship. The Houston Texans, man. One thing that we have learned in all sports, not just football, but basketball and baseball, when you want Houston, Darcy, you're going to get Houston. And hearing Nick Wright talk about me being the final practice for the Kansas City Chiefs, okay, I don't know what's more disrespectful, a final practice or a bye week. Either way, I'm feeling great. I'm happy to be here, man, for the Houston Texans. We're one win away from going to somewhere that we haven't gone before when you have the toughest task in front of you. This is how I want it, Darcy. I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm going to lose to someone, I want to lose to the very, very best.
Well, if you're going to beat someone, you want to beat the very best. And so I feel like the Texans are in that position where if you guys go out there and beat the Chiefs on Saturday, that is legitimately one of the biggest upsets in the last 5 years. So there's a lot on the line for this Chiefs team. And I'm not one of those Chiefs fans that's kind of going into this game just assuming it's an automatic victory, but there are a lot out there. And so what would you say to that fan? And I guess pitch the Houston Texans for the Chiefs fans that don't know how that team is.
Well, guys, you have to look at this defense led by D'Amico Ryans and see what they have done against some very good quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert all have sub-40 ratings against this Houston Texans defense. They're able to turn the ball over with the stingy secondary, all-pro cornerback Derek Stingley, second-team all-rookie Kalen Bullock, and Kamari Lassiter. And then we have our thumping linebackers in the middle who the Kansas City Chiefs haven't seen yet in Azeez Al-Shaair, who was serving his suspension for knocking out Trevor Lawrence. But on the offensive side, you got a franchise quarterback who might have woke up last week, and that is C.J. Stroud, the reigning offensive rookie of the year. If he wakes up and this defense plays like it has against some damn good quarterbacks, I feel like we could beat anyone that's in front of us.
And that's a very fair take. I feel like going into this game, in order for Houston to win, that defense is going to have to be spectacular. You're going to have to get a very similar performance like you did last week when you picked him off 4 times and you sacked him 4 times. There was 5 tackles for loss on Justin Herbert, the Chargers quarterback. That's the type of performance this Texans defense needs to have. And when the Chiefs played the Texans less than a month ago, we didn't see that same pressure up front. Now, they did get to him once, but the Chiefs had a makeshift left tackle and they didn't allow a sack. Like Joe Thuney was perfect. And so I feel like the Texans defense is going to have to be perfect in this game. And really the entire team has to play 60 minutes of good football in order to win. And so, do you think that if this offense of the Texans, doesn't play up to the standard, that they could potentially upset the Chiefs if the defense plays like they did last week?
Hey, man, if you come out the same way you did it for the first quarter and a half against the Los Angeles Chargers, which was lifeless, you could not get anything going through the air, could not get anything going on the ground, you're going to find yourself down big against this Kansas City Chiefs team. One thing you do not want to do is not show up. And if you get embarrassed early, it's going to be hard for you to come back because you're going to have Pat Mahomes in the rhythm, and they're going to have that dangerous crowd in Arrowhead Stadium doing that chant every 5 minutes. It's annoying, but I kind of love it. I'm not going to lie to you. So you cannot come out flat against the Kansas City Chiefs. This offense has to be like it was what happened after that play where C.J. Stroud has to snap, go right by his head, picks it up, finds Hutchinson, using his legs, something we've never seen him do before. The big 37-yard run. taking what the defense was giving him, short to John Mechie, short to Dalton Schultz, and then taking the shots when you needed to one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, Nico Collins. If the offense does that, and that's a big if, Darcy, because
Yes.
this entire season, what we've been saying is that this offense has been a disappointment. It hasn't been the five-headed monster that CJ Stroud said it was going to be. However, you lost Stephon, you lost Tank Dell. You have a new starting offensive line. They were working together last week, giving CJ time to operate. And if they do that this week, man, it's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, this is one of those games I think is going to be won or lost in the trenches on both sides. I think that Chris Jones could have a game against your interior offensive line. I think your tackles are solid. I do have some serious questions about the interior of that offensive line. And so is CJ Stroud going to have enough time to throw? That, remains to be seen. I think that the thing that you have to take just so much pride in, if you're a Texans fan, you won that game against the Chargers playing Texans football. You got turnovers. You made the timely plays. I mean, is there any sense that going into this game that even if you don't win, you had a successful season?
I'm going to say no, because to me, what I said in the offseason, AFC championship or bust. And I'm still going to hold myself to that. Entering this playoff race, I said, you have an opportunity to erase what the hell happened in 2024. You started that off with a dominant win against the Los Angeles Chargers. And hey, you're in the divisional round, a round that you are winless in. And you have an opportunity to once again shock the world against a dynasty in the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, let me say this. If it's competitive and we still lose, then I'll take the moral victory. But if we get our ass beat, then I'm gonna say, very disappointing our showing in week 2, regardless if it was the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm AFC championship or bust, man. And I had a lot of hype in this offseason.
Well, here's the thing. It's kind of unfair because if Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs were playing in this game, we'd be having a very different conversation this week. And I think that's something that, you can't cut the Texans slack, but at the same time, a lot of their players are injured. And one of the guys that showed up on the injury report the past couple of days is Joe Mixon, who has an ankle injury. Is this something that you're concerned about going into this game, that he might not play?
So we were a little concerned until we started to hear more from the, people who were at practice, that in the locker room, he's very upbeat. He's walking around encouraging people. There was an Instagram post of him at Mattress Firm today. I believe he signed a deal with them. So maybe they are giving him that veteran rest day. But Joe Mixon, man, has been a captain for you. One of your spoken leaders in the locker room, had to calm down Deontay Johnson last week after the win, which is one of the reasons why Deontay Johnson was cut. Oh my God, Wade, what a failure that was. But Joe Mixon, man, we think he's going to be ready to go on Saturday. And I always say this, for your offense to be successful, you need 3 things to work: CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, and Joe Mixon. One of those 3 isn't working, you're having some difficulties out there.
Yeah, and this is a type of game that you need all hands on deck. You can't afford any more injuries. And, we were talking on Roundtable Sports that I think that offensively, we're going to see a much bigger game from Dalton Schultz, the tight end, because the Chiefs have shown this season that they do struggle to cover the tight ends. They're pretty good against the run, and I think that they can take out Nico Collins at least for a little bit. But I think this is a situation where the Chiefs defensively are going to say, we don't want Collins and we don't want Mixon beating us. We'll take, Dalton Schultz beating us over the middle. And so I think that could be a opportunity for the Texans to get a lot of big first downs. I mean, the Chiefs give up so many back-breaking, third downs on defense to an offense, and it always goes to the tight end. So this might be a situation where, Dalton Schultz eats in this game. But I want to ask you the question. So we obviously know the Chiefs are the heavy favorites in this game, and not a lot of people are picking the Texans to win. I want you to lay out how the Texans will win this game. We talk about the Chiefs will win if. The Texans will win if what happens, Ruben?
So the Texans will win if they start off with the ball and they take advantage of the 20-day rest that the Kansas City Chiefs on, right? I think you guys are going to come out a little bit rusty, but I think that's going to wear off quick. Jump ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs early and weather the storm because you guys are going to get going, right? I go all the way back to that 24-0, and I was calling my people telling, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl. Then Patrick Mahomes happened. Key, you got to take advantage early, jump on them early, and I feel like your defense is good enough to pin their ears back and go at Patrick Mahomes and make his life hell. And on the offensive side, when that storm is coming, play nasty football, physical football, wind the clock down as much as you can. You're going to need all systems to go against Kansas City on Saturday. But man, I think that's the goal, starting off early and just pinning your ears back and trusting this swarming defense.
And then the number one thing the Texans cannot do in order to win.
They just cannot come out offensively like they did against the Los Angeles Chargers. And they were lackluster for a quarter and a half. If that's the case, if that happens on Saturday, the game is over early because we haven't seen this Houston Texans team, overcome a large deficit. We haven't seen them come back this year, from a big one. So cannot come out. You have to be ready to play football on Saturday against Kansas City, man.
Yeah, no, I think if the Texans start off like they did in that Chargers game, it could get ugly very quickly.
That would kill me, Darcy.
And honestly, I think that might be what the Chiefs try to do offensively. They want to get the lead. And I think this is a game where the Chiefs are going to try to get the lead and coast off of that. And so I think we'll see a game where the Chiefs are in control for most of it, but the Texans might score some garbage time touchdowns to make the score closer than it actually is. But Ruben, my final question for you, it's predictions time. I want to hear what you think is going to happen on Saturday between the Chiefs and the Texans.
Houston Texans are going to win 28-24. It is going to be a fun game. CJ Stroud puts the Superman cape on. This new offensive line is going to be able to protect them, and this defense led by D'Amico Ryans is going to be swarming. Both Daniil and Will Anderson Jr. will have a sack apiece, and Azeez Al-Shaair, he'll have a big hit somewhere.
In Chiefs Kingdom, before you jump on my guy Ruben in the comment section, I would not pick it any other way either if I was a Texans fan. You got to have that confidence.
Not in the playoffs. Regular season,
playoffs.
Yeah, regular season, we could talk about, giving you guys the nod, but not in one and done.
No, like you're not going to not be confident in your team, especially when they won a playoff game. So I think this is a situation where this game is just going to be so much fun to watch. And I think that if the game goes according to plan, one of us will be very happy on Saturday and one of us will not be very happy on Saturday. So, Ruben, it has been a pleasure to get you on the show. My final question for you is, where can the people find your stuff?
Yeah, man, just type in 713 Houston Sports on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. They pop right up. We drop daily Houston Texans content, trying to get to 14K subscribers by the end of this season. Thank you so much for having me on, man.
Of course, it's been my pleasure. Guys, all that stuff will be linked in the description of this video. You definitely want to go subscribe to Ruben. He is the best Texans fan that you can find for all of your news. And so until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.